Let's make this awesome together. Whatever you're aiming for, you're in the right place. Let's make it happen. What you are about to hear in this short yet punchy public lecture is a grounded, real-world definition of two of the most influential systems in modern history, communism and capitalism. This is not a theoretical or ideological exercise. We didn't turn to textbooks or classrooms. Instead, we turned to the streets, workplaces, and lived experiences of ordinary South Africans, where the footprints of both systems can be seen clearly. In this lecture, we will unpack both ideas not in the language of scholars, but in the language of life. We'll look at how they function on the ground, how they shape opportunity, influence society, affect dignity, and steer the nation's direction. Whether you're skeptical, curious, or firmly rooted in your belief, this is a space for clarity, not slogans. A space to understand what these systems truly mean when they step out of theory and into daily life.
Black South Africans have been told to wait. Wait for housing. Wait for jobs. Wait for economic justice. Wait for a better life for all. Communism is not care. It is control. It replaces the family with the state, enterprise with dependence, and spiritual dignity with political obedience. Where capitalism teaches people to think, to plan, to risk, to sell, communism teaches people to point fingers, burn property, and demand what they did not build. It poisons minds with the belief that success is theft, that profit is evil, and that equality means everyone must sink to the lowest level of effort. It does not uplift the poor. It uses them. It marches them in red t-shirts for votes, then keeps them hungry for the next promise. It preaches revolution, but delivers dependence. Wherever communism has walked, work disappears, shops go empty, skills vanish, and people become shadows. In South Africa, it is not apartheid that's holding people back anymore. It's the culture of entitlement, the war against self-reliance, the hatred for builders. Communism doesn't just kill economies, it kills the soul of a people. There are stories in this country that don't make the headlines, but they make empires. They rise behind zinc shacks and backyard gates. A man wakes at 4 a.m. to push a wheelbarrow of paraffin across the township while dogs bark and the fog hasn't yet lifted. A grandmother counts soap bars in a crate, waiting for the school bell to ring so she can catch the first rush of parents. A young man wipes his hands on an oily rag, welding burglar bars with sparks flying into the sand. No one's clapping, no one's watching, but value is being created. Quietly. Daily. No government notice, no press release. Just men and women with empty pockets and full calendars. Some walk from house to house with Tupperware. Others sell hot vetkoek from a plastic chair and cooler box. Every corner, every broom-swept pavement, every garage door that opens to the smell of engine oil or curry. That's the real economy. This is people's capitalism. And while Parliament argues over land, power, and who to blame next, someone, somewhere, is turning an old oil drum into a kitchen stand, a tire into a chair, a bicycle into a delivery service. While the speeches say, "Kill the boar," a quiet Afrikaner in a khaki shirt hands over a welding torch to the young man he trained. No photos, no slogans. Just skill passed on in the heat of work. The Hustle Courier. How Sizwe built a township delivery network from a fold-up table. You won't find his name on Google. He's not on LinkedIn, and he's never been profiled on a startup podcast. But across Block DD and Soshanguve, they just call him Sizwe the Courier Guy. He started with nothing but a R20 daily hustle, selling airtime and cold drinks from a fold-up table outside the local tuck shop. What people didn't notice was that Sizwe was watching. Watching who bought what. Watching who struggled to carry groceries. Watching who delivered crates and who didn't. Every time someone said, "Mara, I wish someone could deliver this thing for me," I took notes. Sizwe says he was 19. No degree, no car, no money. But he had legs, he had a phone, and he had a plan. He started small, offering to deliver paraffin for old grannies who couldn't walk to the corner shop. He charged 5 rand, then 10 rand, then 20 rand for groceries from the taxi rank. He wrote names in a little book, took orders by WhatsApp voice notes. His slogan? You WhatsApp, I walk. By month 6, he had enough to buy a bicycle. By the next year, he trained 2 of his cousins to do the same. We weren't trying to be Uber Eats. We were just trying to eat. Today, Siswi runs a small informal delivery network in 2 zones of Mamelodi. His team wears green bibs with hand-painted names. They deliver groceries, fast food, church uniforms, even asthma pumps on foot and by bicycle. He has no office, but he has trust, and trust is currency. No one from government helped. We never even asked. We built this thing like ants. Bit by bit. He makes just enough to support his siblings and has now paid for his younger sister's nursing course. I'm not a CEO. I'm a township boy who didn't wait for the president. When asked about politics, he shrugs. I don't care who's in charge. I care if my customers call me back. Do you care about Julius Malema and the ruling party? No, I do not listen to such destructive people. My mind is so precious that I would allow communism nonsense dumped on it. I am not a fool. And I am now owned by politicians. This is not socialism. This is not big business. This is people's capitalism, an economy from below, grown from the grit of the forgotten, built by the calloused hands of welders, hawkers, cooks, seamstresses, tire pluggers, and hustlers who've been ignored by politicians but trusted by communities. A warning against the poison. Never, ever listen to those politicians who embraces communism. Never allow them to poison your mind with their socialism and Marxism-Leninism. Reject communism. Communism doesn't build. It breaks. It kills initiative. It kills enterprise. It kills the hunger to create and the pride of ownership. It tells people to wait for a handout instead of using their hands. It replaces the ambition to grow with the bitterness of envy. It convinces the poor that they are powerless and that their only weapon is rage. What is people's capitalism? People's capitalism is not a theory. It is a reality, a rebellion, a return to common sense. It is enterprise from below, built by ordinary people with no permits, no bailouts, no hashtags. It is the grandmother, selling fat cakes, the welder with no workshop but full order books, the donkey cart driver who became a logistics boss, the woman who feeds 10 households from one pot. It is the unrecorded, unstoppable heartbeat of South Africa's true economy. Peoples. Capitalism is built on work ethic over whining, self-reliance over state grants, skill over slogans, trust over paperwork, creation over complaint. It's what millions of South Africans already do, not because they're funded, but because they refuse to fold. What it is not. It is not sponsored by government. It is not a social media campaign. It is not an NGO or think tank slogan. It is not a socialist experiment disguised in new language. And let it be said clearly, we will not allow people's capitalism to be hijacked by politicians. It belongs to the pavement trader, not the parliament speaker. It belongs to the backyard mechanic, not the minister with 5 bodyguards. It belongs to the man with grease on his hands, not the one with a fancy title and no record of building anything. People's capitalism is a mirror, and what it reflects is uncomfortable. That the real economy lives in spite of the state, not because of it. That the poor are not helpless. They are just buried under bad leadership and bad ideas. It's a call to produce. The Compost King, how Sipho turned township waste into Boer Golden. The back streets of Atteridgeville, where alleyways reek of old cabbage and mango peels rot under leaking taps, Sipho Doob saw what everyone else ignored. This isn't just rubbish, he says, shoveling a heap of blackened banana skins into a drum. This is black gold, and I sell it to the same people who taught me to respect soil, the Boer. Years ago, Sipho worked on a vegetable farm outside Pretoria owned by an old Afrikaner farmer. That's where he learned how compost works, how the earth needs waste, how rotting becomes richness. He was a general worker, paid to water, weed, and load bags, but his mind was always watching. When he got retrenched, he didn't sulk. He returned home to the township and started collecting what others throw away. People dump food, grass, leaves, eggshells, you name it. I said, no man. This is business. He built his first compost pile behind his shack, covered it with plastic, turned it with a broken spade. 6 weeks later, he bagged the dark, damp soil into used maize meal sacks and hitchhiked back to that same farm. The old man looked at it and said, "Dis go ye grand, my mat." He gave me 250 rand for 3 bags. I knew right there I was in business. Today, Sipho works with 2 assistants. They push trolleys through the township collecting rot. They dry it, sort it, turn it, bag it, They sell to small farms, nurseries, backyard growers, even white farmers who now call him when they need the good stuff. They plant mealies with it, tomatoes, lettuce, and it all grows strong. He doesn't beg for environmental grants, doesn't need climate change seminars. I don't need a certificate to know what feeds the earth. I just need cow dung and peels. He makes just enough to live, but lives with dignity. This is real money, clean money, money that comes from the ground, not from lies. And now he's teaching young boys to do the same. He calls it soil hustle, the cleanest dirt in the township. Communist is a foreign ideology and cannot gel and jive with the character of South Africa. And so my thesis was that South Africa can never be communist, and the Afrikaner must be hated, brandishing chants like "kill the Boer" on his face. But in the real world, not in slogans, Afrikaners quietly pass down skills, tools, and trade secrets. And the poor, they're not waiting. They're working. They're building. Not with matches or chance, but with small businesses and big hearts. It's a rejection of the dependency disease and the toxic blame game. It's a witness to what happens when everyday people create value with no funding, no media coverage, and no permission. Just raw, unapologetic hustle.